Rough night. Teeny tiny Snorlax, did you give me my breakfast as I requested? Thank you. Really? A bite missing? It's very hard to find good help these days. So hard, in fact, that some people even choose to have a psychopath work with them when there's obviously better choices. This week we're reviewing Criminal, and you're about to see why that opening segment made sense. So, for those of you who haven't heard about this critical and box office failure, Criminal is a film starring Kevin Costner about a CIA agent who is killed before he can complete his last mission. So, the military hires a doctor to implant his memories into that of a dangerous criminal. Why on earth would they choose a dangerous criminal to put these memories in, you ask? Because his frontal lobe is missing, and therefore he's the perfect candidate. This sounds reasonable enough until someone mentions that there are 1 in 10 million people have this condition, which means with roughly 7 billion people on Earth, there are plenty of other options they could have picked from, roughly 700 of them. You're telling me there wasn't one person better suited for this? That's just problem one in a film that had a laundry list of problems. How do I put this? When describing the film, I really can't think of any other thing to think of than a kitten. A cute, adorable little kitten, and you look at it, and it could be a cat, and it has so much potential, and you love it. And then someone takes the same kitten, brings it to a river, and drowns it. And lets the whole world watch on as something that could have been great is just completely and utterly murdered. Just murdered by poor script writing and subpar directing. Spoiler alert, I'm going to tell you a lot about the movie's plot, but not to worry, the plot's honestly the worst thing about the movie. It's not that the concept wasn't cool, it actually was. It had a sort of face-off kind of vibe to it, and it could have worked. Big problem is, it really was just a cliche-filled mess. I mean, time upon time, we've seen these action movie tropes, we've heard these lines before. It feels a lot like the concept was cool, but the writer was on autopilot. And one of the things that really sucks about it is, again, there was so much potential here. The idea that, a CIA agent, the only person his memories can be transferred to is a dangerous criminal, is interesting. And they toy a lot with the idea of Kevin Costner, who plays a psychopathic criminal, that he slowly starts to develop emotions and he slowly starts to feel things. When the movie's focusing on that aspect, it's excellent. And it allows Kevin Costner to shine. In fact, the entire cast shines. It has an ensemble cast including Tommy Lee Jones, Gary Oldman, and Gal Gadot. And they do a pretty good job, all of them, especially Costner. Problem is, the acting doesn't save the rest of the flaws. And probably the worst thing about the movie is that the villain is atrocious. Seriously, we have almost nothing to know about his motivation. His character is boring as can be, and the actor who plays him doesn't bring anything to the role. And of course, there's the blockbuster trope we see all the time these days, which is that the fate of the world has to hang in the balance. Can someone please explain to me why it is these films these days always think the fate of the world has to be in the balance? I mean, seriously, don't these writers understand that it's better to start out with a small-scale personal story so that we can more easily relate to the characters? I know, it's just a common trope and you should probably get used to it, but it just doesn't make sense when you look at it. So, the film isn't bad, per se, it's just marred by too many problems to really say it's worth going to see. Unless you're a Kevin Costner fan, you might as well just wait for this one to come out on cable. Criminal gets a 5 out of 10 for a mediocre, underdone concept. What can I say? Sometimes Kevin Costner just doesn't put out the best stuff. Okay, a lot of the time.